back to one of my other build videos. Like usually any build videos I do, this is long overdue. So this is my I called it Flaskmaster build. This is the build I usually play when I'm solo or when the group size is very small and I know it's about to get rough, so I know I have some pretty good survival tools at my disposal. Also, I do not bring any other group buffs outside of my healing, my synergies, and major vitality. So I will go right into the details. So for the attribute points, I have put 50 points into health, 14 points, 50 points into magicka, 14 points into health, and nothing into stamina. For the backbone of this, we are using the Death Dealer's Fete Mythic, together with a pair of Heartland jewelry, Heartland belt, and the restoration stuff on the front bar. As you can see, my resto stuff is defending, which will give me most of my tankiness on the front bar, which is my main bar in this case. However, if you feel confident in your group, since this is a solo build focused on my own survival, you can also just go with empowered. I have a separate sets of Heartland weapons with different traits in my inventory that I can just swap around to adjust to whatever people are around me or the absence thereof. The second set I paired with this build is the Iron Flask, which is a just like Heartland is a craftable set from Blackwood. The Iron Flask is a craftable set from the Deadlands, so one of the strong points of this is you do not actually need to farm anything, both sets are craftable. However, in order for this build to work, you will have to have golden jewelry. This is one of the downsides, is you will need golden jewelry because the jewelry is infused, and in order to get the cooldown of your potions down to 21 seconds, which is almost the maximum uptime for Iron Flask, you will have to have infused potion cooldown reduction on all three jewelries on gold value, because gold value gives you 8 seconds. Purple value will give you 6 or 7 seconds, so it's not enough. For the Iron Flask, we are wearing the back bar, so it's sword and board. My sword is decisive since it's the bar where I drink my pots on. This is to get a little bit more out of my catalyst, I think it is. Passive from Nightblade, and which whenever you drink a potion you get 10 ultimates back, so this is just to get a little bit more out of this. And my shield is sturdy, which reduces my block mitigation. That is to help with being a little bit more tanky and being able to block a little bit more. With Nightblade you would want to roll dodge more than block, since you have more you have an easier time dodging because of the changes they made a few patches ago to blur or shadow phantasmal image, I think the other morph is called. I use blur on this build, as I'll show you later when we come to the skills, which gives you, every time you get direct damage, cost reduction to dodge, which is one of the reasons you would want to dodge a bit more than you usually do, because it doesn't cost that much stamina as blocking. But I still found out that on the back bar I like to have a sturdy shield. It helps with blocking things you usually can't get out of, or when you get pulled into a DC you need to block, like there's things you still need to block, but dodge will not really help you. My monster set on this one is 2 pieces Mighty Chudan. This is mostly because I like to save my resources, and Nightblade does not have its own, how can I put this, major source of major resolve. The way Nightblade gets major resolve, it's through a passive and using shadow skills. However, with even in this build I changed, I have 3 pieces heavy, 2 pieces medium, 1 piece light, and the strength of this passive gets increased for how many heavy pieces you have. I'm not very comfortable wearing 5 or 7 pieces of heavy, just to get the best uptime for my major resolve buff, when I could do it another way and just free up a skill slot, which is the route I decided to take with this one. So I just went for Mighty Chudan, and the 2 piece is also actually quite nice. It gives us some extra armor and it gives us some extra health. It used to be that you would get the armor and the health for the 1 piece, but that got patched quite a long time ago, so now if you want to have both, you'd actually have to wear the both pieces. You just get armor for the first piece. My chest is 1 piece of Trainee, and then my gloves is my second light piece along with Heartland belt of Iron Flask, and my legs and boots are also Iron Flask, along with my front bar to give me my along with my back bar to give me my 5-piece bonus. And Mythic is the Death Dealer. It's a Mythic that was released with Blackwood. You might have to, it might need to take a moment till you get this, because if I remember properly, some leads drop from IC, some leads drop from Dragonstar Arena, some leads drop from doing world bosses in Blackwood, and 1 lead even drops from playing Cyrodiil and opening the Rewards of the Worthy containers, if I remember right. But yeah, this is the mythic I decided to go through for this build because it will help us even out our max resources and also adjust food. So for the skills now. On the front bar I'm using Dark Cloak for the extra healing and the nice access to minor protection on the front bar, since this is the bar I will mostly be on. At the moment it's defending, so my front bar is way more tankier than my back bar. So if I want to tank things, that's what I'll be sitting on. Then it's my usually skill loadout. Radiating Regen, Echoing Vigor, Blessings of Protection, and Soul Siphon for the passive, since I would want to have 1 shadow skill on each bar and 1 siphoning skill on each bar to flatten out my maximum health as well as my maximum magicka and magicka recovery. On this time around I've put Race Against Time on the front bar. This is for mostly practical reasons, since I mostly try to stay on my front bar. I like to have the extra mobility just on the front bar without needing to bar swap. My back bar is a bit more of a... how can I put this? It's not very tanky, but it will get me out of trouble if I really need. So my first skill here is Shadow Image, which I try to keep up most of the time, just so when I see the big influx of damage or people pushing, I can reposition. Mirage, you would want to keep this up as much as you can, because it will give you minor resolve, which is still nice, even though you will get minor resolve out of blessing also, but sometimes blessing falls off, so having a nice better visual cue is really helpful, for me at least. I've grown to really like visual cues. So Mirage it is, and it also gives you major evasion, which is what I'm after mostly. And like I explained earlier, while active, taking direct damage reduces the cost of your next roll dodge by 10% up to a maximum of 100%. This can stopper every half second. So every time you take direct damage and this is up, it don't need to be on the back bar, it just needs to be up, which is why you want to keep it up and why you want to roll dodge, because your roll dodge is just going to be really cheap. Hypnosis is one of the skills from the vampire tree. It's actually my stun, my fear for when I get really into trouble, just to get people off me and reposition just in case Shadow Image has run out or I'm not in range, because Shadow Image does have a range. I use Hypnosis. You could argue that it's the cheaper version of Mass Hysteria, and you're absolutely right. Mass Hysteria is the superior fear for Nightblade. The reason why I've taken this one, because for Hypnosis to work, people need to actually look at you, so have their marker on you, their cursor on you, or have you highlighted. The reason I took this stun is A, because it's cheaper. It only costs me 2k mag. And the other reason is I already have 2 shadow skills, 1 on each bar. So if I want to take Mass Hysteria instead, I would either have to drop Shadow Image, which I won't, or I have to drop Dark Cloak and play with Fear on the front bar, which is a possibility. I've tested it, but personally I really I like it better with minor protection from Dark Cloak and the extra healing, since, as you'll see, our health goes up pretty high. Then I have Energy Orb, just to have another nice healing on the back bar when I drink my pot. Healthy Offering is my oh shit heal and my source of minor mending, but mostly it's just to have 1 strong heal on the back bar, because you never know, I really like to have 1 strong heal on my back bar. And our ulti is a spell wall. This is mostly, like I said, this is a selfish build. So spell wall will just help me block incoming attacks and just deal with snipers whenever I can. Because if they get cocky and you drop too low, you pop your spell wall and you walk into them, fear them if you're close enough, they'll just die from their own attacks. For my champion points, this is almost similar to what I have, or what I had months ago for my Oak and Salt build. I didn't really change that much. So for the green CP, what you would mostly like to have is liquid efficiency. All the other ones is whatever you want to have. I took Gifted Rider, Steve's Blessing, and Rationeer for the faster food, the longer food, and the faster horse. Then in the warfare tree, what's important is Foresight. This will help you with Magicka and Stamina Sustain a lot, because every time you drink a potion, you activate this champion point for 6 seconds, which with Iron Flask, since we are running 3 jewelry infused spell pot reduction, it's every 20 seconds. So it will make a big difference in our sustain. Duelist rebuff for the single damage reduction, Ironclad for the direct damage reduction, and Resilience for the extra critical resistances. I don't have an avaiable, since I am having my own source of major evasion, so I just decided to go with Ironclad instead of an avaiable. For the blue CP, I have Fortified just for the extra armor, Celerity for the extra speed. I have Expert Evasion just to have a little bit more roll dodge possibilities. And I have Survival Instincts to reduce the cost of all my core combat skills. It's 25% with if you put all the points in it, and it does make a big difference into blocking, dodging, and most importantly, break free. And for the attributes, I already showed that it's 50 points into mag, 40 points into stam. So now, for the food, since this build is not really running my usually food supply. Oh my god, I am running Jewls of Misrule, because with death dealers I actually do not need the maximum stamina or magicka. Unbuffed, I'm running at 16 stam and 26 mag, which is already extremely high. 34 44 max health, and my resistances are around 30k. And once I buff up, I need to be in combat, so I just let myself get in combat, and then you see my stats go up. My mag will go up, my stam will go up, and my health as well. You'll be sitting more or less at 34k health at the end. And some nice 20 something or 19 max stamina, 13k max magicka almost. I just attack this minion every now and then a little bit. Okay, that's it. I think we've reached the cap. So as you can see, I'm sitting comfortably at 37k health, 29k mag, 19k stam, almost 20. And my rank does seem a little bit low, but actually, when you drink potions while in combat on the back bar, your mag will go up a little bit, and that's enough because of the foresight CP. Also, Iron Flask just gives us the tankiness that we need. So like you see, we are at 40k, mag resistance is 37 on the back bar, which is not our tanky bar. And let me just drink another pot. If I go on my front bar, I am sitting at 39-38, which you can also just pull up even higher if you swap your magicka pots for armor pots. So I will show you when I get into really heaty situations, and the good thing is armor pots last up to over 40 seconds. So I just drop my pot. It's the fourth icon from the left you're seeing at 41 seconds at the moment. And there you see 44, 43k on the back bar, 47, 46k on the front bar. This is really tanky, and this is why I use it when I play alone, because there's so many things that are just out of my control, like the abilities of the people around me, so I just protect myself. And you'll be extremely tanky, with having lots of ways to escape thanks to shadow image, but also fear. So for the curse, I'm also playing Vampire Stage 3. Where is it? There you go. Vampire Stage 3. And for the Mundus, I am using the ritual to make my healing somewhat stronger. But you could also just use the Atro to get a little bit more magical recovery if you're not comfortable with playing with this little magical recovery. You can also just go with the Atro. One other thing I maybe didn't specify for the armor traits. My heavy pieces are all reinforced with tri-stat jewelry. That means the head, the chest, and the legs. And my small pieces, light and medium pieces are all impenetrable with a max magicka enchant on this build. For my other build, I changed up this lineup quite a little bit because I'm usually not playing free heavy anymore. However, since Heartland Iron Flask just gives us so much armor, I can actually easily afford to play 3 pieces heavy only. And yeah, that's it. I hope this was clear enough and you could follow most of what I tried to explain and come across. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.